There you go. Well, let's find out who won people leagues at the running back position. The fantasy running back of the year, factoring in all those things, the nominees were Devonta Freeman, Adrian Peterson, old man strength, Doug Martin, bounce back, D'Angelo Williams, waiver wire gold,
old man strength,
and Todd Gurley, rookie sensation. And the winner, when factoring in where they drafted impact total performances, is Devonta Freeman. Mr. Besmirched name himself was the fantasy running back of the year.
Just hearing it roll off your lips brings me joy.
He was not that involved in weeks 1 and 2 and finished the year as the number 1 running back who you could probably find on waivers, might have been drafted, but was not expected to do much.
I think he was drafted in a good amount of leagues. What was he held on to?
A lot of people dropped him after week 1 and 2.
Here's the first 2 weeks of Devonta Freeman running the ball. 10 for 18, 12 for 25.
And
Mike was cackling in the corner of the studio.
I am happy that you are bringing these back up.
Just
further besmirching his name so that people can be confident to keep him for next year.
He ran away with this one, 44% of the vote. Very close second place. D'Angelo Williams actually took second place, just above Adrian Peterson. Both had 18% of the vote. And then Gurley and Doug Martin. All guys that had great years, helped you in different ways. Freeman certainly took teams from mediocre to dominant for a big portion of the year. So, all right, let's move on to the fantasy tight end of the year. The fantasy tight end of the year Footie Award. The nominees were Tyler Eifert, Rob Gronkowski, Jordan Reed, Maximum Barnage himself, Gary Barnage, and Greg Olson, all guys with incredible years. And the winner of the Footie for fantasy tight end of the year, Jordan Reed.
Hey! Rule 86.
Hey!
Rule 86, running away with it, 42% of the vote. Gronkowski came in second, Eifert, and then Barnage. Heck of a year for Jordan Reed, a guy who, when you followed the rule, which is if Jordan Reed is healthy, you play him, he was another guy that took teams from good to great, from great to championship, and carried teams.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially clutch in the playoffs.
For Rob Gronkowski to not win the award for the best fantasy tight end, it takes a performance like a guy who goes undrafted, finishing right behind Rob Gronkowski. And Jordan Reed was the number 2 tight end in many formats, off of waivers, and was consistent and did it every time he played. I mean, Jordan Reed, you, Mike, I believe might even be keeping Jordan Reed in our league of record. Yeah, he has shown that.
That was my point that I was going to talk about, where Jordan Reed has, when he came into the league, it was, this guy is very interesting. Let's see what he can do. A couple flashes here and there, but mostly hurt. Same thing last year. We thought, okay, well, Reed, this is going to be the year. Hurt. This year, training camp gets hurt. And we don't know how long he's going to be out. And then so we actually liked his replacement, Niles Paul.
See ya.
Out for the year. And then Jordan Reed happened to be ready to play for opening day and has just turned into a guy that is going to be worth the risk. You have to have this guy on your team. It's no longer, he gets hurt all the time. I don't care that he gets hurt all the time, because if the chance that he plays every game, I have an elite level tight end, 20 point in our league of record, 23 points behind Rob Gronkowski. And that was, so Gronk also missed a game.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know who else has been somewhat injury prone?
Rob Gronkowski.
But it doesn't matter because he's so good that you take that risk. And yeah,
so Jordan Reed he still has to prove it for more time than he has, but he could be taking that leap into that upper echelon category. Yep. And the thing is this winner, Jordan Reed winning by more than double the votes of Rob Gronkowski, shows, again, a player that was on teams that won games. You know, a difference-making type of player like Tim Hightower, like you mentioned before. So, all right, that does it for the tight end.
So the fantasy quarterback of the year, when factoring everything we've asked the voters to think about, the nominees, fantasy quarterback of the year, Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Carson Palmer, Blake Bortles, Russell Wilson.
Who's that? Who is that?
Russell Wilson. And Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton. He still made his way onto the ballot because he was that good.
He deserved to be on the ballot.
Absolutely he deserved to be nominated. And the winner for fantasy quarterback of the year, no shockers here, Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
Oh, and we are dabbing in the studio. There is Cam Newton, fantasy player, or the highest fantasy score of the year. So there is absolutely no question.
Ran away
about
with this one.
Yeah,
More than double the second place guy who was Carson Palmer. Had a great year. Blake Bortles finished third. Andy Dalton even got a few votes down at the bottom. But Cam Newton with 53% of the vote.
And what's amazing about this list, who would be the highest drafted guy of last year? Who was? Was it Russell Wilson?
Yeah,
Yes.
Russell Wilson would have been the highest drafted of this
Followed
list.
by probably Carson Palmer.
No,
Cam
Newton.
Newton would have been.
People still drafted Newton in about the 8th. Yeah, they did.
But when you look at the list, I think the point you're making is your top quarterbacks that you came into this year drafting aren't even a part of this list. And this was a pretty wide list. Well, now let's get to the list
I like this one.
that everyone cares the most about. It was, I believe, the most diverse group of voting. There was no runaway winner here. There were close seconds, close thirds, and everyone got a vote. It is for the nickname of the year.
Very excited.
Which nickname does the Foot Clan enjoy the best? Here are your nominees, these wonderful nicknames. You have Betty Crockett Gilmore. You've got Marty McBride for Martavis Bryant. And, of course, the Big Salad, one of Mike's personal favorites.
Sean
for
Drone.
Sean Drone. Rule 86. The aforementioned Jordan Reed. You've got Maximum Barnage, also at the tight end position. Maybe my favorite, Guns Mahoney. Guns Mahoney.
Who's Guns Mahoney, Jason?
Guns Mahoney is Guns Mahoney. That's Dan Campbell.
Okay.
Peach Cobbler. You got
my
Peach Cobbler
favorite.
out there for. Man, we had a lot of nicknames
Pete
this
Carroll.
year.
Pete Carroll.
For Pete Carroll.
Two coaches have nicknames. That's
the
good.
depth. Well, we also had Coobs.
That's true.
So he just didn't make it
that
on the
wasn't a
list.
big stretch.
No.
Kubiak. Coobs. Let's do Coobs.
Yeah. We didn't put David Johnson.
That's not a
on
nickname.
here because it's not a nickname.
No.
It's just singing it. Same with Russell Wilson.
That's true.
Also nominees, the depth chart assassin, Fred Jackson himself, friend of the show, and Dirty Cake. Also, Sammy Biscuits.
We left
We're
him
just
off.
giving,
forgot
we're
about
giving him an honorable mention.
All of
Yeah,
these
Sammy
guys got
Biscuits.
great votes. I'm going to take you back from third place on. At
Oh, I
third-
like that.
At third
I like
place,
that.
the third place winner was Guns Mahoney. People enjoyed
I
Guns
was
Mahoney.
surprised.
This was a shocker, a complete shocker to me. As far as nicknames go, Guns Mahoney was a complete throwaway.
Oh,
No,
it
you're
was-
wrong, sir.
I think it all came from when you
When I correct.
when you were like Dan Campbell.
Because
That's who we're
you-
talking about.
3 or 4 times in a row, you just referred to him very casually as Guns. Yeah,
That's
when Guns Mahoney's making his decision with Lamar Miller in the backfield, and Guns Mahoney tells Ryan Tannehill to, and I'm like,
That's
his name's Dan Campbell.
I think if you look on his birth certificate, it's Guns Mahoney. In second place. Second place is Mike's favorite, the Big Salad,
Yeah.
Sean Drone.
Shout out to the
Great-
Seinfeld lovers out there.
Great nickname.
yeah.
But the first place is the name that won, the name that was a rule. Rule 86. Jordan Reed, you are the nickname of the year.
Congratulations, Jordan.
And I like this one. I'm sure that his performance of winning championship that factors in. That gives you
Is that good?
gives you some love and attachment to a nickname and a player. So I like this one. I'm with the voters. Rule 86.
All right. Rule 86 takes the Footie for nickname of the year. And now we move on to the breakout player of the year. Which player was fantasy football's breakout player of the season?
A lot of great options.
A lot of good options. We put it to a vote. We let you guys go and vote on the breakout player of the year. The nominees were DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Freeman, Allen Robinson, Tyler Eifert, Blake Bortles, Jordan Reed, Latavius Murray, and Doug Baldwin.
Great options.
And the winner of the Breakout Player of the Year.
Are you sure? Have you double-checked this one?
I got it right in front of me. Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson takes the Footie for Breakout Player of the Year. Well-deserved. An incredible season from Allen Robinson. He had 37% of the vote. Devontae Freeman, 23% of the vote. And DeAndre Hopkins with 12%.
So Allen
of
Robinson
the vote.
ran away with this.
Allen Robinson did. He ran away with this one.
Almost the wide receiver of the year. But I think this is the better place for him is, the second place wide receiver voting and the actual Breakout Player of the Year. Because he came and
He saw.
yes.
He conquered.
And he scored multiple touchdowns and 1,400 yards. 1,400 yards.
14.
So if you are keeping a player, you'd rather keep keeping him for next year, Allen Robinson or Brandon Marshall?
Allen Robinson.
Ooh. Oh, man. That's really tough. If it's just a one-off,
Right.
say I'm playing
just
for
for
next-
next year.
Just
Brandon
play
Marshall
next year.
had the better year this year than Allen Robinson by a squeaker.
Slim.
Very close.
I'll
Was
go-
it 80 catches for Allen Robinson, 1,400 yards,
Brandon Marshall
14
was
touchdowns.
109 catches, 1,502 yards, 14 touchdowns.
Oh,
That's a pretty good
oh,
year.
that is a heck of a year. A little more consistent too.
And
Yes.
I need to know if Fitzpatrick is going to be throwing
Sure,
the ball.
I'll same situations that you
So,
have now.
I got to make the decision today. I'm going to go with Allen Robinson because I know what's going to happen next year. I'm not sure with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
It's very. I bring those two names up because of where they finished so close, and the fact that they both have premium wide receiver twos on the other side with Eric Decker and Allen Hurns that really
It
showed.
helps.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Allen Robinson, well-deserved Breakout Player of the Year.
Our next category in the 2015 Footies, the Rookie of the Year, and the nominees are David Johnson, T.J. Yeldon, Todd Gurley, Amari Cooper, Thomas Rawls, and Buck Allen. And the winner. What?
I just saw. Did Buck to spoil the
2 votes.
loser? The Buck
Two
Allen got
votes
2
for
total
Buck Allen.
votes.
Yeah. 2 votes.
Come on. The winner for Rookie of the Year, the running back sensation for the St. Louis Rams, Todd Gurley.
Hey, Todd Gurley, well-deserved.
Very well deserved. It was a monster year for Gurley. 229 carries, over 1,100 yards, and 10 touchdowns.
Yes.
So
Very
that-
impressive year. Number 2 was David Johnson.
Yes. And Todd Gurley,
Those were the only
Missed a
ones
couple
that were
games.
even close, by the way. You could have Yeldon, Cooper, Rawls, Allen, didn't do much in the
Yeah.
in the voting.
Amari Cooper is very interesting because I would say at about halfway through the year we thought this guy is
Wow.
really breaking out and
Instead, he broke.
can
and
be a stud,
He
which
broke
it
down.
absolutely can still be an elite fantasy wide receiver. But I just thought it was an interesting thing. If you would have taken a poll halfway through the year, people were in love with Amari Cooper.
Well, yeah, Marcus Mariota could have been on that list, depending on
Marks.
Marcus.
He got it right. You heard it wrong.
Yeah, Thank
You heard it wrong, folks.
I'm gonna
Marks
next
Mariota.
year. Next year, I'm telling you this. I'm gonna come back and have the best English imaginable.
Would
Just
you be the
like-
comeback host of the year?
Yes, I would.
I
Just
find
like
that
this
claim
next category, the
highly
comeback
doubtful.
player of the year. Which fantasy player amazed you the most with their return to relevance? You had several players who had done it before and kind of seemed like they were done and came back, such as Andy Dalton, Brandon Marshall, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Doug Martin really came back strong, Jonathan Stewart, and Larry Fitzgerald, guys who had done it, gone away, and
A
came back.
fine group of nominees.
A fine group of nominees. I really thought that this award was going to go to who got the runner-up in Doug Martin, just because
Ooh.
he is, I mean, he was hot and disappeared and came back strong. But the winner of this year's award was the aforementioned Brandon Marshall.
I love it.
I mean, he had such a good year. It's amazing. He came back.
You just heard it.
super strong.
109, 1,514.
This is
And
ridiculous.
That's going to, you know what that gets you? That gets you a footy.
That gets you a footy.
The comeback player of the year.
And Doug Martin was second. Third was Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And then Larry Fitzgerald and Jonathan Stewart and Andy Dalton.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. He had a couple good years there in Buffalo.
Yeah. So is it up to me?
It is to the hostess.
All right. Well, the next. Wait a minute.
I said next year, my English.
I'm pretty sure that's going to take more effort than to separate hostess from your vocabulary.
Yeah,
Steal-
especially with all the Twinkies and the,
I know.
and the ding dongs.
I know.
And the ho-hos.
Do we have any of those around here?
You go look around. I'm going to give this footy out. The steal of the draft. Which player was the absolute best value in the 2015 draft compared to their ADP, their average draft position? A number of nominees. I'm going to give you the nominee and where they were drafted, their average draft position, and we'll find out who wins this footy. The first nominee, Doug Martin with an average draft position of 74. Allen Robinson with an ADP of 83. Brandon Marshall, where I actually don't have his ADP up here. Do you have
59.
Larry Fitzgerald?
92.
Chris Ivory was 67. Darren McFadden?
108.
Cam Newton?
84.
And Eric Decker, 101.
101.
101. And this was a very close vote. The second and third place votes were are an actual tie, and that was Cam Newton and Eric Decker tied for the steal of the draft, second and third place. But the winner, you've heard his name before, Allen Robinson.
He's got
with an
2
ADP.
feet, and he needs 2 footies.
He's got 2 feet. He needs 2 footies. ADP of 83, Allen Robinson. What more can you say about the guy?
We can say this. He will not have cold feet.
No.
When he's wearing his plush golden footies.
Hey, you know
Congratulations.
you know what I think we need to hear? A little bit of that preseason target monster.
Oh!
There he was. We went back and saw.
Here,
he
here's some
was
antacids.
preseason. He was Mike's in our My Guy segment.
Yes.
He was Mike's My Guy before the year. All right, so
We got one more. Only one more footy to give out.
Is this me?
Yep.
This is me.
One final footy.
This one
What
is
a
actually,
terrible one to end on.
No, this is great because it's me reading it, as a few of these guys may have been hyped by me. So, the letdown player of the year.
And the letdown host of the year.
Just concentrate on that Allen Robinson pick.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. But this player just plain never delivered on the fantasy hype. And the nominees: Amir Abdullah, Joseph Randle, Travis Kelce, Melvin Gordon, Jordan Matthews, Andre Johnson, Jeremy Hill, Ryan Tannehill, and Devontae Adams. The winner of the letdown player
the
of
loser.
it depends on your point of view.
He's gonna win a footy.
The winner / loser, the letdown player of the year, Jeremy Hill. And
It was close.
this one was very close with Devontae
He stinks.
Adams. And
Melvin Gordon, very close.
this one's a little tough because it's I agree though, because it's the letdown of the year. There was very, very high hopes for Jeremy Hill, and he did not come through with those high hopes. He still was a running back too, one of those really frustrating guys who can get you 4 points or can get you 20. So
But the expectation was that
he would be great.
he would be great. And we looked at this when we were talking about this category and saw that Jeremy Hill, same amount of carries as last year. One different carry, right? So 222 last year, 223 this year. I believe 1,100 plus yards last year, and 700 and something this year.
Yeah, it's about a 300-yard difference.
Yeah,
and the real
that's a
problem,
letdown.
The real problem for Jeremy Hill, because I wanted to contest this a little bit in the sense that Jeremy Hill finished the year as the 15th best running back. But here's
15 or 19? Because I thought you said 19.
15 now after week 17. So the 15th best running back, but the problem that you had with him is he would put up 20 points and then put up 1 point, 3 points, 24 points, 3 points. And he went back and forth. It was kind of like what we were talking about with Eddie Lacy. This is a guy that if you owned him, frustrated you like crazy because you would have had to have, had a time machine to get the right picks on when he was going to have a good game and when he was going to stink.
He was a best ball champion.
Yes.
If you had him in your
That's
best
a-
ball
that's a great
NFLs, then you were very happy with Jeremy
I was
Hill.
going to say he's probably not one of the guys that were on a lot of championship rosters.
I can't
because
imagine.
you couldn't lean on him at any time. You could roll him out there as a flyer, but that's what he became as opposed to the top round type of guy that we hoped and expected him to be. So
Yeah, you didn't get to the playoffs because he lost you weeks because
That's
you
right.
accidentally played him.
That's right. So
Well,
that
thank
does
you.
it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to all the beautiful voters out there for doing your job and your duty and placing your votes for the Footies of the year.
Do we need to run them back?
No, I think we
got enough
got
of them. We'll post them on this episode so you can see the winners.
There you go.
No, you got to listen to the episode. We'll post them later.
All right.
Next week.
All right. It's, it's a real fine production we have here.
Well, don't forget, don't worry, listeners. We still have more this episode for you.
Coming up very soon after this commercial break.
Chris Meany of the Fantasy Sports Network with our FanDuel DFS picks for the playoffs.
You mistimed that horrifically.
All right.
All right, it's over.